Hey everyone, we're live, season 3, episode 14. We got off that 13 episode. The 13th episode was supposed to be the unlucky one. But, you know, we're going to look at this game. Leeds nil, Arsenal nil. We're going to look at it from all different angles. I might start to take off my rose-tinted glasses. I was just talking to Stan and Gary. They've got literal glasses in their on their heads. I've got rose-tinted glasses, and I've got to be hit over the head a few times before I start realizing we are an average team. And Arteta is definitely learning as he goes along. So I'm going to learn a lot in this hour and a half that we're going to be here. Tony's going to join us, but want to welcome. Got the news down below. He's in the dark, like every other Arsenal supporter.
Yeah, I don't feel like being seen, guys. Right now, I'm absolutely fuming. If you guys saw the anger in my face, you'd understand why. Right now, all you can see is a nose and maybe a beard and a mouth moving, maybe. But this is not our Arsenal. This is not our Arsenal.
I see like a very faint, blurry light. Oh, that's your nose. Okay. Gary, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
And Stan, thanks for coming back.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good. Stan, I'll let you start off with today. Your summary of the game.
I think that we are incredibly lucky to have got anything out of that game at all. I mean, when we look back in the books on this one, it will say that we got a point. And we were incredibly lucky to, I think, if we even got that, incredibly lucky. Where do you want to start? I mean, there's the lineup. You know, we went out there with four at the back. You know, we had a lot more going on in midfield, and more importantly, you know, everybody got their wish with Aubameyang being played through the middle. But I mean, just touching on that, I think it must have been like 35 minutes. And the first time I actually noticed Aubameyang touching the ball, he was well back in our own half when he was on the ball. So when we were, you know, you're looking to break forward, there's nobody else ahead of him. So I'm really disappointed with the game today overall. I mean, you know, you could have just mixed it straight into the end of the last game that we played, and it would seem like one still long continuous game. You know, no improvement at all for me. And I think it's again man of the match for me is our goalkeeper. You know, our goalkeeper I think kept us in that game, and we relied on him heavily today. Second man of the match, the woodwork.
Yeah.
Yep.
The uprights, the left upright especially, that should get a mention all of itself.
And I just think as well, a lot of players didn't cover themselves in any glory at all. You know, if you want to go through the team for individual performances, there was a lot of players to me that sort of didn't really show up. You know, especially in that first half, the first part of the first half, we were trying to keep up with the energy, but the passing was just off. We were turning the ball over so many times. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
All right.
Bless you.
Gary, we talked earlier on the pre-game show about the team that was, because we announced the team live, and you know, at one point the case was Willian gets in the team, eyebrows raised. We talked about the lack of consistency in Arteta's non-negotiables, and Willian's not getting away today without us mentioning he got selected in spite of what he did during the interlull.
Yeah, I mean, also, I mean, to some degree, we saw the same with Ceballos and Luis, right? I mean, isn't that also a non-negotiable as well? I mean, whether or not they decided to handle it behind closed doors, you know, why wasn't that treated any different than the last time they had a little row between players in what most people consider as, you know, something that just happens, right? William, you know, went against orders and didn't get punished for it. I could say the same about Ceballos and Luis. It seemed to some degree. I mean, Ceballos played and started, so you know, this is the case where, you know, as a manager, you say something, and we're gonna hold you to it. And when you change your stripes, we're gonna call you on it. We should be able to call you on it. That's what we saw. That's what we saw from that situation. So, I mean, the one positive I think that we got to see out of that lineup was that we saw Willock out there, right?
Yeah,
earning the time that he needs on the field with the first team.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was a plus there. I mean, it was a welcome sight for us. So we thought, maybe we'll see a little bit more from our offense. And I'm not as disappointed as everyone else. I think I guess I'm looking at it a little differently because I always feel like this. This could be a step in the right direction. I don't know about that, but it could be, right? It could be.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to take every point we get, whether we deserve it or not. And I don't think we deserve the point today. We talked about the upright being one of the man of the matches. Saved us from losing probably 3 or 4 times, especially in the last 10 or 12 minutes of the game. Yes, Gary?
No, I was just gonna say you can go back and look at some other games where we should have come out with the win and we came out with a loss. So I think that you're gonna get this in games when the more and more you play, right? Some games are gonna go your way, and you're gonna and you're still gonna not get the points you want. I think today they had every opportunity to take the game from us, and like we said, the woodwork was kind to us today. I mean, no matter where they hit it, it always went out. So I'll take that, but also turn around and we had opportunities to score as well. We had a call that didn't even get looked at that could have gone our way as well. So those might wash themselves out, and that's why we're sitting here at a 0-0 game. I mean
0-0 game, and
we had to play with a man down. I mean, we played with a man down. We didn't get a call go our way. They hit the woodwork multiple times. Isn't some of that like a wash in some degree, right?
Some degree. If you go a man down and you get out with a draw, you would probably call that not a bad day at the office. A lot of luck involved, and previous seasons we would look at probably have lost that game 2 or 3-0 in previous seasons. That's maybe my rose-tinted glasses. I'm not sure which way I'm falling today on this one. Mahir, what's your initial thoughts on the game? And Stephen Denham has said he's concerned about our lack of goals, our failure to score in another game. It's unacceptable for the strikers we have, the amount of talent we have on the pitch. 5 games, we've only scored 1 goal in 5 games in the league, not counting Europa League because the standard's a lot lower there. But Mahir, it's not good enough.
We are absolutely shite. That's all I have to say. There's nothing else.
Let that sink in. Yeah, let that sink in. We're just not very good right now, Stan.
I just want to mention one thing, guys.
Yep.
Now, how do I put this lightly? So not only are we bang average, even when we get the decision. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Even when we call for players to come into the squad and other players to get dropped, our lineup gets predicted almost exactly minus Ainsley Maitland-Niles, minus Saka for Willian. Right?
Yeah.
These players got Wenger fired. These same players let Emery down and got Emery fired. Is the same thing going to happen to Arteta? I'm not saying Arteta out, but basically this is what's fucking happening. Mind my language, but this is fucking happening in front of our eyes. Our beautiful Arsenal is getting destroyed by bang average players being in the squad and them letting the coach down. And I have a feeling the same thing is going to happen. Then we have to start back at square one with another coach. Do they not understand what it means to play for the badge? Do they not understand? I know we're going to hit blimps. We can't be perfect. But fucking hell, man. You want raw emotion? Might as well stick me there. You might as well stick me there on the bench so I can be an assistant coach and shout at these fucking rubbish players. And Arteta also to say, what the hell are you doing putting Willian on the pitch? Willian, with his Salt Bay. I was telling Stan, and I was telling Ray, hopefully you guys will get one of my steaks one of the days. You tell me whether you need to fly all the way to fucking Dubai to go get a steak and then pull up with a performance like that. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable.
Yeah, Stan, this points to a lack of discipline within the squad. You know, William leaving the country to go and see a celebrity that I didn't even know about in Salt Bay. Apparently, he's a celebrity chef and Dubai.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be a lot of little pieces of indiscipline that we seem to be hearing about, right? We've had the Danny Sebastian incident with Eddie Nketiah during the warm-up of the game. We've had now William going off to Dubai when he's not supposed to be going off, let alone what the club thinks to the government as well, say that you shouldn't be doing it. Then we've had the dust up between David Luiz and Ceballos. Obviously, there was the Guendouzi incident. There seems to be a lot of these little niggles happening when, coming into the job, we were kind of under the impression that Mikel Arteta was this great disciplinarian. But it seems to be that it depends who you are, and if you're going to get punished for some of the mistakes that you're making, or some of the indiscretions that you're making. And I'm beginning to sort of feel a little bit that Mikel Arteta tends to be someone that likes to play favourites, and that's, to me, is a little bit disappointing. You should be one way. It should be the same treatment for everybody. But then you've got to look at it another way. I mean, all right, let's say, for example, he'd left Willian out and he'd left Danny Ceballos out. I mean, we're kind of short as it is, We can't just go freezing players out all of the time as well when we don't. It's not like we've got a dearth that we can dig into to put in their place. El Nenny's out with this COVID virus. So I kind of feel that his hands are tied a little bit. And, there was a complete change of formation today.
Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, his hands are tied because he's kind of put himself in that situation, hasn't he? I mean, we don't even know what we have in terms of, depth, because we don't see those players getting to play in positions that they're eventually going to hopefully play for the first team when they play. So to some degree, he may be put, his hand is strong because he's created that situation where I don't know if I can even trust these players. So then when I'm in a situation like he was, where maybe two players probably shouldn't have started, or even been on the team sheet, he's got no choice, right? I mean, they all come back. I think they all come around, right? Those decisions that you make early, we knew we had depth issues, and we knew that coming into the season, we needed to figure out what kind of depth we had. We didn't get to see some of these players hopefully fill that depth issue, that the discrepancy that we had.
I mean, I would say forget going away on international duties, forget players having to sleep at airports, anything like that. The team that we put out today should have been able to have got something should have been able to have performed a little bit more better against Leeds. That's it. There's no excuses for me. That team should have been able to have performed better than Leeds.
No excuses.
And if you have to look at the stats, right, Leeds outplayed us in every area of the game. Do you know what I mean? I've got the stats right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they had 25 shots, we had 9.
Yep.
Of our 9 4 on target, of their 25, 4 on target. But they still had the 25 shots. Possession, they had 67%, we had 33. Passes, they had 608, we had 309. That's almost double, right? Pass accuracy, 85% for them, 70 for us. They outplayed us basically in every part of the game, as far as I can see. And they were just unlucky that they were wasteful with the chances that they had.
Yep, 100%, Stan. They could have easily put in 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, they were just.
And we would have been sitting here. You wouldn't have seen me.
A goal today, and if they weren't so wasteful today, we would have been shamed.
Yeah, definitely. And at halftime, Stan, 13 shots to Leeds, 5 to Arsenal. Situations we had on the break, Saka takes 2 touches when he needed to just shoot, probably. Goalkeeper is on top of him. He tries to go past the goalkeeper. due to Pepe's indiscipline, he gets a red card. VAR don't look at the penalty incident for us. I don't understand that one. But what we do have is Tony has awakened from his beauty sleep,
Lumber.
his slumber.
Lumber. Slumber.
Wait, but
Lumber.
cracking.
Like a
So
pig.
let's have Tony have his say about the game today, Tony.
It's, even without the red cards, it's a game we should have deserved to lose. Should have been 3-4 nil in favor of them. Just not at
Yeah.
all.
And we were saying, Tony, before you came on, you're allowed to include the woodwork as your man in the match candidates. Now, if you want to have a Tony Don Juan man in the match, you can put our goals and the woodwork there as one of the candidates up. Mr. Bungle, Pepe ruined the game as a spectacle we were lucky to have not lost that. So I'm of the viewpoint that Pepe should definitely have not done that, but let's talk about the Pepe incident. And my take on it is he's still a young player, and there's going to be some debate about this. He's still a young player, and he's going to learn from this. I'll go anti-clockwise before I get to Gary. Tony, what do you think of that?
I think it's a cheap red card. It's a red card, but just putting your head against somebody's head without really putting any force into it, to me.
Of course, it's a cheap red card, but every player who's cute enough is just going to drop like a bag of potatoes.
Yeah, I think for refs, if we look at that and see there's no force, I think
it's not about the force though, Tony. It's about the intent. The intent to show that kind of aggression towards your opposite number. You should always be a gentleman when playing football.
Not saying that this is an excuse, but did you guys see the little bit of niggling before that actually happened? But I mean, still, you should be a gentleman. Like as Ray just said, you have to be a gentleman in the game.
Little bit tongue in cheek there. It's not
a little bit tongue in cheek, but essentially in life you have to be a gentleman as a life lesson. The best people are the gentlemen. They were showing unrelated. They were showing Lucas Radebe at Leeds, and they were saying he was one of the nicest centre backs. He was such a gentleman, but he was vicious in the tackle, still doing what he needed to do on the pitch. And I was like, Lucas Radebe, proudly South African.
I remember.
So I think he was the first player. Yeah, he was the first South African player to be playing in the Premier League. And I mean, you can still do your job and be an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, but and Tony, Miss Melina said, might be worth to go back to sleep and pretend this game never actually happened, Tony. So,
sure. Rewind the day.
Here's the thing, Mahir. If you put your head to another player's head, and back in the day, they would just duke it out. But nowadays, players are just too cute. They're able to drop to the ground. VAR is going to take a look at it. What's the ref? We all knew he was going to get sent off before.
Yeah, we all knew it.
Decision was going to come in.
The thing is, at work. So, say for instance, your manager or a higher up or somebody's in charge of you, he has a pop at you. If you have a pop at him and lose your cool, immediately that goes to the board or the bosses, and you can be fired like that. You can be out of a job like that, and that happens in the workplace. That's just a literal example of something like that. Like, why don't you just keep your cool? Why don't you keep your cool? We've got 40 minutes. In that 40 minutes, an attack or two happens. It just takes a split second. Pepe can be on a run, and he can provide an assist. He can himself decide to take a pop shot, and like that, we could win 1-0. And then this whole debacle would be different. This conversation we'd be having now, I would want to be seen. Man, it's ridiculous.
Okay, Gary.
Okay.
On Pepe.
So on Pepe, here we go. So he came out, he said he's happy when he plays. You know, when he gets to play, he's a happy player. That's what he wants to play. When he came out and played today, had a couple of good looks And then he decided, I'm done being happy. I'm done playing. I don't want to play anymore. I don't get it. That he's been yearning to play. He finally gets to play, and now he's going to let whatever some other player says to him get him kicked out of a game. That's the problem. That's probably why he doesn't get to play. I mean,
we've seen it. We've seen it, Gary, over the years, many years. Wayne Rooney's done it numerous times. As young players, you get goaded into these situations, and you just have to be a little bit more clever about it. We know what the other player was trying to do to get him into that situation, and that player was taking advantage of what Pepe did to him.
I don't know what to say for him. There's nothing. He gets nothing. I wanted him out there playing because of the talent, but now he's kicking himself out of games. I mean, what I mean, that's disappointing.
This brings William back into the team again.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I wanted Pepe to go out, and I figured, he'll get some opportunities to play with William, with with what he did over the weekend, and that didn't seem to make a difference. Pepe had an opportunity to answer the question: should I get more playing time? He gave us an answer today. And he's going to be missing for 3 games.
Yep.
When he comes back, will we want him? We want him when he comes back. I mean, I don't know. Do I want me to comment on that or yeah?
No, we'll get into that.
I think Pepe kind of gave us the answer that we were looking for. Does he want to be here? Does he want to play? Does he want to fight for his spot?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Stan. I'll get to you in a second, Stan. Didn't we say Saka would get injured today? That's game management. It looks like ligament damage, and a kid just can't get a break these days. I think he's always tackled hard. He always tries as well, and those are the kind of players that get injured. Stan, what's your take on Pepe? Young player, he should have known better. Young player, he'll learn from this.
I thought he was dreadful in the first half. Absolutely dreadful. I mean, he kept losing his man all of the time. It wasn't. Sometimes when he should have been tracking back, he was just like strolling. And the guy that he should have been marking, the fullback that he was marking, was all the way at the other end of the pitch without Nicolas Pepe. I thought he was dreadful. But looking at the incident, yeah, you can say, well, was it, he barely touched the guy, blah, blah, blah. That's not enough to put you on the ground. Nicolas Pepe shouldn't put himself in that situation. It's just as simple as that, You make a move like that, the other player's going to make a meal out of it. That's what you would do. It's about it's fine margins, right? And if you can get the guy sent off, if he's going to be stupid enough to put himself in that position, why not? Fall down, try and get him sent off. He's stupid enough to try that. Don't give them the opportunity to fall down and get you sent off. It's just ridiculous. And we're talking about a player who, he's come out in the press and said, that he wants more playing time. I'm happy when I play. And this is a guy he's kind of, fighting to try and cement himself in the first team. He comes in, he gets dropped. He comes in, he gets dropped. He's had no consistency. And there he is. He has an opportunity to start in the league today. And, like Gary says, he just kicked himself out of the team. That's it now. He's out of sight, out of mind now for the next 3 games, which gives somebody else now an opportunity to cement themselves into the team. And now it's even harder work for our record signing to try and find his way back into the team. I mean, what are we going to do with this kid? It's, the amount of money that we've invested in him, that we've tied up in him, and he's probably on a long contract. It's not an easy thing, right? I think that we still have to somehow work with him. The answer the answer isn't to just sell him. I mean, how much would we lose right now? We've got
a load of money.
We've got
60 million. We'll lose.
Well, think about it. This is a second red card in 2 years. That's gonna maybe this red will show us who's the next one up, right? I mean, last year Aubameyang went out with a red card. Martinelli got his time to shine, and he actually took the opportunity, and we are yearning for his return. Pepe being out, next man up. William is hopefully has given others opportunities as well. Maybe some of those youngsters, the Willocks, the Nelsons, the Smith Rose, maybe they get an opportunity to show before January whether or not, they should get an opportunity to play more than they do.
If you've got a manager like that, and if you've got a manager that's maybe not confident on you, doesn't think he can trust you, and he's not giving you the opportunities that you want, all he's done there is cement that now in Arteta's mind.
Yeah.
He just cemented the fact that he thinks to himself, I can't trust this guy, and if I leave him out, well, he was never my signing anyway. That was a previous regime, and I don't think that this guy fits into my plans.
He makes it too easy, right, Stan?
He's made it so easy for Mikel Arteta, and it's a shame because I think that there is a player in there, and I think that one of the things that we need in this Arsenal team right now is a player like Nicolas Pepe. We need a maverick. All right, maybe in a game he'll do 5 or 6 things that you're like, oh, what are you doing that for? But he does have the talent where he can maybe do 1 or 2 things that could gain you a point in the game, whether it be an assist or a cheeky shot. He's got that about him, and I think that's what we're missing in this team. And I just wish that Mikel Arteta would put his arm around him a little bit more and encourage him to have a bit more freedom and to tell the teammates in front of Nicolas Pepe to say to other teammates, give him the ball more, try and play him in behind so that Nicolas Pepe can hear that, he's telling the team to try and work with him. But it seems to be the complete opposite of what's actually happening with him, So I don't know what's going to happen to him now because, as I say, out of sight, out of mind now for the next 3 games.
Well, Stan, he can go do some Christmas shopping now because, he's not going to play for about a month. Unfortunately. Yeah, a young player goaded into a situation like that. Got to think that defender has had a few years on him in terms of experience and situations like that. And as Mahir said, whatever verbals went on, whatever, it happens in the game. Up and down the country, it happens in the game. You get into verbals, you get into physical confrontations with players, and you go the player into doing something stupid. And that's what Nicolas Pepe did today. And like everyone has said here, you've just given Mikel Arteta an opportunity to not pick you again or be very, very cautious about picking you again because you're a player that has come from the previous regime. Maybe he's not keen on him in any case. Gary, who do you think gets the biggest opportunity now based on Pepe being out for 3 games? You talked about Martinelli getting the opportunity. Who is most likely to benefit now?
Oof.
Nelson?
I think Nelson. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna stick with this formation, I could see Nelson out there definitely. I mean, I think Willian should have already given somebody an opportunity. Now Pepe has made it a lot easier now. So, yeah, Nelson. I like to see more of Nelson and Willock playing together out there. I think maybe we need to give them a chance. I mean, it's not working, and like one of the things that Stan talked, one of the words you brought up was trust, and I think trust and confidence in his players is what Arteta is showing us he doesn't have. He doesn't have that in his players. He will only play, he's got 20, what is it? He had 33 signed players, I think is the number, and he only probably has trust and confidence, maybe in 10, 11, maybe 12 of them.
Yeah.
That's not, you can't have a team like that. And I do think he needs to do some hand holding, some hugging, whatever it is, to get his players to want to play for him. I mean, he's got enough talent. We know that much. They're gonna pick their spots when they come out there. So yeah, I mean, Nelson, I think definitely deserves to be out there and get some time. We'll see. We'll see. I guess we have a week off until the next game. All right. I don't think we have a game this Thursday, right? So
I think there is a game on Thursday.
There's a game on Thursday? Okay.
Yep.
So, depending on what he does on that Thursday, I guess we'll find out, we'll kind of get an idea of who's going to play over the weekend. I mean, it looks like, Saka won't be playing, and hopefully it's not that bad, because that would be a big blow to us if he's out for any extended amount of time.
Like the assembler said, after 3 games in 6 days, he shouldn't have been nowhere near the team. And we didn't want him to start today, but he came on as substitute. Tied into Pepe's red card, Arteta shows his lack of faith, I guess, in Joe
Yeah.
Willock. Takes
Yeah.
Joe Willock off, brings Saka on.
Yeah.
In hindsight, probably not the best thing to do.
Yep.
Tony,
Can I just say one thing on that?
yeah.
This is the second time that we've seen Saka come in and play maybe when he shouldn't have. And this is the second time that Saka has got pulled out of the next game that he played. Right?
Yeah.
What more do you need as a sign that, you know what, you're doing something wrong? This is number 2. The third time he may not, come back and get to play for a while.
Well,
This is either easy signs here as to what to do and what not to do. I mean, everybody knows that Saka coming in had put a lot of work in over the break, probably the most work of any player, right? That at his age needs the time to recover.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I recall, I think Tierney maybe played the same amount, maybe played more minutes, right? But he's a little bit more seasoned and experienced in that respect, and probably can and perform today under that kind of situation. But Saka needed some more time, and he didn't get it today, and his coach didn't look out for him. I mean, and this is the second time it's happened in one season that he's come in to a game when we know he wasn't 100% ready to go, and he's had to come off the field.
Yeah. As Patrick O'Donovan said, it's pretty bad time to be an Arsenal supporter now. I've been supporting for a long, long time, and we're in one of our fallow periods. Stan, as Gary just mentioned, it seems like candidates that are on Arteta's preferred list, Bukayo Saka would be one of those players. He's one of the preferred candidates for his team.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been anywhere near the starting lineup today, and it was a shame that we even had to resort to bring him on with the amount of games that he's had to play quite recently away on international duty. But that just shows you that's the depth of our squad at the moment, And playing as badly as we were in that game, Mikel Arteta, he had to change it around and try and do something. But I mean, the front three for me today were just all over the place, just weren't at the races at all. I mean, when we did get our chances, they were so poor. Aubameyang chance that he had to just rocket it over the crossbar, and it just seems that we seem to be so unlucky that why is it every time we show faith in a player and sort of like make them the main man with a huge contract, that's when they always seem to go off the boil. I go back to Theo Walcott when we put a lot of faith into Theo Walcott, and even gave him the opportunity to play through the middle, and it just didn't work out. And it just seems to be happening again. Aubameyang just looked really out of sorts for me today, and he has really since this season started. To be fair, I mean, what's his highlight been? A penalty?
His highlight was the first game of the season when Willian sprayed that lovely ball out from the right wing. It seems like a long time ago, the opening day of the season. Tony, in general, we get a decent point today. I mean, it's a point we should never have got, Tony, but are we going in the right direction? I know the answer to this question. Are we going in the right direction generally?
No.
Are we just sort of limping along to a January transfer window till Martinelli comes back, and is the solution in the transfer market?
I don't think we'll do enough in the transfer market to make a difference. I don't know if Arteta can make the right decisions to get the ship back on course. It seems like he just favors wrong players, like going with a back four. The back four currently isn't working. We're much better with a back three right now. He just seems to be stubborn and forcing things and being way too rigid. And
so, Tony, I thought one of the highlights of the whole game was the partnership between Rob Holding and Gabriel. They seem to be developing an understanding there.
Yeah, they did a good job together. Besides the winnow and the goalpost, they're probably the players of the game.
And it looks like Liverpool are 2-0 up on Leicester City. And Liverpool with all the injuries that they have right now. So, Mahir, you still there?
Yep, I'm still around.
What do you think in general? Our trajectory that we're headed in right now. We hate to talk. We're probably not going to try not to talk about the other lad who are maybe top of the league at the end of the day. They might be still, but we're poles apart right now.
We can't really give banter to any club. We are the banter club right now because it's like, you know what's ridiculous to me? That how hard the players are failing. You we've discussed, we've just said you put your faith in players, whether they're young. Thank you, Miss Melina, for the update.
Hmm.
300 subscribers. Big ups to the panel. Stan, Tony, Gary, Ray, Alonso, and all our subscribers. We couldn't have done it without you. Let's keep growing. Let's
Yeah,
keep smashing the like. If we
Nair,
breathe
I
oxygen, otherwise we'll suffocate. That's one good note that I'm
yeah.
proud of. I'm proud of absolutely everybody, and we couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, so that's one thing I noticed before I came on. We did hit 300 mark. We want to push on a little bit further. Let's get to 500 next goal maybe. But if there's a bright spot in the day, that is it. Also, we didn't lose, and big props to everybody that comes on the channel as well. Stan, Gary, Tony, Alonso, and Sam. It seems to be a set routine now, and everyone else who has been on in the past. So big big things. So we're growing steadily, slowly, without any kind of steroids or boosters. But it's good. It's good natural growth, right, Maher?
Natural growth. It's fantastic. You want me to speak about the projection of our team?
Yeah. Overall, I
Um,
mean, a year ago, we're calling for Unai Emery's head. We don't want to be in that situation with Mikel Arteta, and we're not there. We're not talking about that today. But if things keep moving forward, we're going to play Wolves and we're going to play Spurs.
oh,
And
Gary, Tony, Stan, Wolves and the North London derby against that lot. If we are going to do what we do today, my God, I'm having nightmares right now. I know it is night, but if it was the daytime, I'm still having absolute nightmares. Okay, something could happen in the North London derby. Form gets thrown out the window, blah blah
it's
blah,
we're
etc.
we're,
etc.
uh, we're a podcast that comes across all parts of the world. You're from South Africa. It's actually bright here still, and even brighter at Stan's and Tony's gaffs. So yeah,
Like I say, with this trajectory that we're on, I'm having nightmares in the daytime, wide awake, but having nightmares of what's going to happen at Wolves. I'm not even looking at the North London derby with Kane and maybe even Bale making a return and Son
um,
being on immense form. That's one player I would have loved at Arsenal, actually, Son. But my goodness, we could get absolutely torn apart in the next few weeks. It's quite scary. Do I see us making top four? No. Do I see us making Champions League via the Europa? I'm 80% on yes. Okay, maybe drop that down to about 60%. Love to hear your guys' thoughts.
Gary, a year ago, Unai Emery is almost gone. We take about a month to get Arteta in the door. We saw progression, as we said before, to win the FA Cup, but we haven't. It's sort of grinding to a halt a little bit. Lost 4 games in the league. We've done quite well in the Europa League and the cup competitions, but we did lose now 4 games in the league. How do we frame what's happening so far after 9 games? And I always thought we would get 18 points this season. Now after 10 games, we're not going to get 18 points. Best we can do would be 16.
I mean, I this is I think this is what we're seeing is equivalent to the experience of our manager, right? And if he had a different set of players, playing under him, and if he had some management above him, maybe we'll see something different. But I think we are what we are, right? This is what we are right now. We know we are a team in flux. Our management above Arteta is still, I don't know what their what their plan is, what their motive is. You know, Arteta is still trying to figure this thing out, and the players are too. We don't have that one or two players that we can kind of lean on right now, right? I mean, Tierney showed some fire at the end of the game. I'm not sure about in the middle of the game how he was in terms of his fire that he brought to the field, but definitely saw it at the end.
I missed that, Gary. What happened with Tierney right at the end of the game?
I think he was just coming off, and then I guess somebody made a comment, and so he turned around and went back at whoever was talking. I don't know, it was the player that if the player that took
Leeds player
Saka out or not, or you know, but I think at that, you know, at some point, you know, he looked like, you know, he was definitely upset. I mean, I'm all for the players getting upset, but I need to see some that get translated into something I see on the field. I mean,
Exactly.
I gotta see that
It's too
fire
late.
that's in their belly, turn it on in the field, because you know, it's not, you know, that's what's missing. You know, that's what's missing. I mean, are they having fun out there? Are they enjoying themselves? It doesn't look like it, right? They're just going
Not at
about the
all.
motions. It's a really, really stressful job that they have going on. They're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's. I think we're like I said. I think as far as where the team is, I think we're just in a. We're still growing here. We're regrowing, I guess you can say.
We're in a funk, I think. Patrick O'Donovan is watching from London. Best panel to watch. Can't watch those idiots on AFTV. So really appreciate comments like that. If anyone wants to put the word out there, put the stream, put the link on your social. Bring some more like-minded gooners in here, and we can have good discussions on things.
Yeah.
Stan, we talked throughout the pandemic, you know, throughout the shutdown, and when Project Restart came back, we had the water breaks. They worked really, really well for Mikel Arteta, the water breaks. But him being able to shout orders all over the field, it doesn't seem to be helping us right now.
Yeah, it does seem like I spoke about this quite recently on Same Old Arsenal. He seems to be really micromanaging, and at first we kind of loved it, didn't we? But it must be a little bit now. It must be a little bit much for the players, because there's no excuse, right? There's no crowd in there, so you can't say, you can't not do what he says and then pretend you didn't hear him over the crowd, right? Because there is none. So if he tells you to do something, you got to do it. And there's probably times where players are moving, and then they're probably thinking, "Do I move now?" And they're probably waiting.
The right place.
And they're probably waiting for Mikel to tell them, because it's kind of like they're so used to it. But the micromanaging, I wish that he would just allow the players to try and play their game a little bit more. You know, I don't know where I feel that sometimes it may be a little bit inhibiting for the players, especially some of the younger players, right?
Yeah, we talked about this on Thursday, that you're able to coach defending, and it will show in the stats, so you can see less goals, right? Well, we've got one of the best defensive records, but you can't really coach creativity and how to create goals. That's something that comes naturally, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. I thought that the water breaks was something that worked really well for us, and until the stadiums get full again, the players are going to hear Arteta barking orders in 6 or 7 different languages, and it's going to look like what it is right now, I think. Tony, okay, so has anyone got any other points to make about the game? We might go into the Tony Don Juan man in the match, and that might spark a little bit more conversation. Tony, who do you think was your player of the game? Right, tough one.
Either be Leno or Gabriel.
Yeah, we'd have to give it to Bern Leno, I think, right? Maher, what do you think? Bern Leno or Gabriel?
I'm going with Bernd Leno.
Gary?
I don't want to give it to any one player. I don't know. I don't want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I feel
Best
like
response.
I don't want to. I think as a whole we got a point out of it, and I don't think that was just from. I mean, I know Leno made a lot of stops because he had to, but we've seen that multiple times, and we've come away sometimes with no points out of it. So, I think we got lucky with the woodwork. I mean, I don't. The more and more I listen to people talk, the more and more I'm like, well, I guess I was a little bit too much positive in this game. From what I saw, I thought I saw something decent at least. At least based on what I've seen in the past, I felt a little better at this game than what I saw in the previous game where we looked atrocious. This one, I don't think was as bad as the last one, but for some reason it seems like it is. We got something out of this game. We got some young players in there. We got different formation, and we actually got something out of it. So that's why I'm just gonna go. Arsenal gets the man of the match for me. I mean they all had something to play with us not playing as well as we did, and when they all had some of why we actually came out with a point as well. So I'm going, Arsenal. Yeah, I'm not giving it to one guy.
You're just okay.
I'm not giving it to one guy. Yeah.
Stan will get to decide.
Nobody deserves it.
I mean, I saw like Stan's wig. Maybe Stan's wig gets the call. Yeah. Maybe those mystery hits on the woodworker from Stan's wig blowing the ball away from the goal, and we just didn't see it.
Give a shout out to James Fernandez. I remember when it was 3-3, the West Ham game. We were gassing him up, but he's taking it easy on us today. So appreciate that, James.
Yeah.
Stan, Bernd Leno or Gabriel?
Yeah, I think Bernd Leno for me.
Yeah.
He
made some decent saves, right?
Yeah, but I also did like the move of the game though. From our side, for me, was the pass from Bellerin straight through to Saka. I thought that was a great pass, and I just hope that the next time that Saka finds himself in a similar situation, because he's a young lad, he's still learning, that he'll remember exactly what it was that he done wrong there. He should have taken a shot a lot quicker instead of bringing it out more to his left and closing his angle down. But a good move that was. I was really hoping that we're going to get a little bit more out of that move.
Yeah, I think we were all saying hit it at that point that he got to the ball. Just hit it. Goalkeeper closes up on him.
Didn't Pepe? Sorry, guys. Didn't Pepe have an opportunity like that also, or was it just me? We scuffed the shot. I think he tried to do too much as per usual. He tried to do a little bit more dribbling or extra touch instead of just letting his laces through it.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, for me to summarize this game, I thought we played really well with a high tempo for about 30 minutes. And as per usual, what we've seen with Arsenal, they get dominated then after 30 minutes. It's like if we don't get a goal or two after 30 minutes, we don't have anything after that, James asking how has Partey been since starting. I thought Partey's been pretty decent for us. He hasn't had any monster games, but the standout was the Manchester United game away from home, our only win in those 5 games. We've lost to City, we've lost to Leicester, we've lost to Aston Villa, and we drew to Leeds. So 4 points out of 15 makes pretty bad reading in the last 5 league games. Tony?
And just simply not good enough. Party's been okay. He was starting to get into his own, then picks up an injury. So we'll see what happens when he finally gets back. I know I don't want to see any more of Zaka and Ceballos. Ceballos is a lone player. Stan keeps stressing we need to be getting Willock and Nelson time. Zaka just shouldn't ever be on the pitch at all.
Yeah, I mean, he is a squad player because Partey and El Neni were out today. And Stan, in some ways, that's the difficulty. And today we were talking about this in the pregame show. Difficulty is we didn't really get to see how Arteta thinks because injuries forced his hand today a little bit, especially in midfield and in the forwards.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, sort of not changing the subject just a little bit, that we may see a little bit more of what Arteta is really about, because there was a story that came out a few days ago. I sent it on to a couple of you, which is saying that basically that Kroenke has decided that he's going to back Mikel Arteta financially over the next 18 months with money so that he can build a squad. And the story said that it's going to start this window. So I mean, I don't know
Wow.
what brought that. I don't know what's brought that change about. It may be because obviously they're not making any money from the LA Rams stadium, right, and all the ancillary stuff that goes around that stadium, all the retail
Yep.
outlets. There's no one, you know, they just shelled out $6 billion for that. So maybe they're looking at their other investments to try and find ways of. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to. The thing is, if he's going to put his hand in his pocket, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that the only way we seem to make a move into positive is if something negative happens, right? As opposed to having a plan in place ahead of time and going, you know what? I want all my businesses to succeed, right? He did that with the Rams. That's why he put the stadium in there. Arsenal, we knew coming in what they needed. They needed to pretty much revamp the squad, right? We knew we were going to have to do that. I mean, this is, this has been years where we've gone, we don't have the depth, we don't have this player, we don't have that player. Nothing has changed, right? So it's all. I mean, they seem to have to get knocked down to get back up again, as opposed to just, you know what, I'm just going to be stronger and strengthen myself so I don't get knocked down anymore. I mean, I always say it's should be an easy thing, right? The plan is to make sure your businesses are successful, and how do you do that? You put the money, the time, the effort, the planning into it, and we just haven't been doing that. We've kind of been letting it just happen, and then when we finally realize, oh wait, let's do something, then the management decides they're going to do it. Why don't we just do it from the get-go? Get that work in now, and then plan it out.
I mean, we didn't do too bad in the last window as well, right? We brought in Gabriel, we brought in Partey. Money was released to help those deals happen. We managed to get Aubameyang over the line, and again, we did ask, so what has he been promised? For Aubameyang to put pen to paper, is it just about the money, or does he know that something else is coming? And I think the story that's come out about this investment that's going to be taking place over the next 18 months, probably it's already started. It probably already started in that last window, with Stan releasing the funds that were needed to bring in Partey. So, I mean, the window's not that far away now. Let's see if it's going to happen, because I always said, if we're not going to invest more in this team, then there was really no reason for us to spend the money that we did on Aubameyang. We should have maybe just cut our losses, sold him, brought that money in and spent that. But we haven't done that, so there must be more coming. And I'm really hoping that this story, is accurate. It seems to be pretty accurate. And, we haven't got that long to find out now whether we're going to be making any moves.
Yeah, if I can just say two things on that. One is, I definitely feel like if you're going to bring Aubameyang in, there's got to be a reason for it. And you got to plan around it. Its pros and cons. So if you know that, you can't put him in situations where you're going to nullify his attack and his what he brings to the table. Right. What was there something else I wanted to say? I just lost my train of thought there. But that was one of them. Is if you have Aubameyang there, that's you got to utilize him the best way you can, or else you just wasted your money and time. All right. And we've seen it. We've already wasted 9 games now. 9 games we've had him out there, and 9 games he's been in no situation where it seems like he's comfortable on the ball. The players are playing towards your strength. If your strength was, let's get the best scorer that we've had in a very long time, one of the best scorers in the league. Let's get him the ball in situations that make sense. Then you do it, but we didn't do that, right? I mean, I guess the other thing that I wanted to say was I thought I saw something that Partey was the first time they've asked for money and support from the management. I thought is what I saw written. It might, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but it seemed like they finally did decide to ask for some help. Because and I think that's on them because they weren't able to, make the transfers out that they needed to, and I think they, we always thought they could lean on the management because they have tons of money, right? But they also, once again, they let themselves down by not getting those players off the books that they're not going to be here. They shouldn't be here. It's, So
Stan, I remember talking. I remember Rohan. Months ago, we talked about this, that this window that just passed was the absolute biggest in Arsenal's history for many, many seasons to come, or had in the past. And part of that was getting rid of the dead wood, and we weren't able to do that because of the circumstances of the economy, what's going on in the world. Do the club kind of get a pass for not being able to do that?
Well, you all know that we've got Bob Wood, and I think Mikel Arteta knows it, which is probably one of the reasons why Socrates doesn't feature in a Premier League squad, right? He hasn't been registered. I don't think he's been registered for the Europa. But we can't just let these players just walk out the door. We've got to try and wait until we find that a team's going to cough up however little it may be. We've got to try and get some money back on these players, but we can't get rid of them until they've got a suitor. Unfortunately, I mean, Guendouzi, when he was frozen out initially, he was the one where people are going, well, that's 40 million right there. This will be all right. We can put that towards this person and that person. He had to go out on loan. We're still paying his wages, or I would imagine a high portion of his wages, right? So it's not been easy to get rid of. And, we've still got a few people that we all know who they are. That, Mustafi, they're talking about going off to Barcelona. Great, I'll drive you to the airport. We've got our number 10, the highest paid.
Part of the shitbag 6, right?
Exactly. They're still there. Do you know what I mean? Most of them are still there. And, David Luiz, she didn't play today, apparently, because he had a kid. His wife gave birth today, which is the reason that he wasn't there. But, again, another one whose contract is winding down.
I mean, I don't know what Arsenal can do, but it seems like Arsenal's the only team where if they want somebody off their books, it's like the worst player of all time. There's no way anybody's going to pay their salary. But you look at other teams, and for some reason, their castaways are worth something to somebody somewhere. And we know our players have talent. I mean, they do. But we seem to taint them with a really bad brush. And for some reason, you know what? We're not going to pay you top dollar for that play. We're not going to pay you anywhere close to what you want. And, that's on Arsenal. When you put your players in a situation, they're going to be looked at a certain way, and that's what's happening, right? They're looked at as not viable solutions for anybody's questions.
Yeah, James Fernandez had asked if we're all in the States. I'm coming from Pennsylvania, originally from Ireland. Gary's from New Jersey. Way back when, originally from Acton, right, in the UK, and Tony's Oklahoma. Right, Tony?
Yep.
Stan, Vancouver. Originally, let Stan say originally from where?
Peckham.
Yeah. And this guy down here, the gangster from South Africa.
Okay, I'm the vicious gentleman, like somebody said earlier. Vicious gentleman, yes.
Vicious G.
Yes. Provide on the pitch, but other than that, don't get in my bad books.
So, Mahir, as we've been talking about, we've got four players that are going to be leaving next summer. Do we just sort of trundle through this season and get the best we can out of this season and reset in next summer? Is it too late, too long to wait that long? You don't think we'll make top 4 at this point in time? It's not looking great.
No, top 4 is not looking great. We might be able to get it through Europa if we really push all guns blazing. I did want to mention to you guys, like Stan just said now, it just sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. Excuses. Oh, I pulled a shift in. I put a shift in with my wife last night. So guys, I'm so exhausted. I can't play today. I'm on a live stream tomorrow afternoon, so I won't be able to make it for training, which means I won't be able to play. Oh, my friend's having a barbecue and he's serving full ensemble. There's roast chicken, there's steaks, there's chicken, I can't play because I'll be on a full stomach, so I might pull something. I might pull a stomach muscle, or I might get a huge cramp. It just sounds like a bunch of fucking excuses. I wish these players just concentrated, like now the Arteta's out squad is right out. They're going to have a field day, especially the whole week. They're going to have a field day, and who knows, it might get worse at Wolves, might get worse at the North London Derby, pray not. But seriously, come on. If you don't know what it means, it's the same in the workplace. If you don't put passion into your job and show people that this means absolutely everything to me. It may not be your dream job, but if you don't show effort and passion into what you're doing, they're not gonna appreciate you for what you're doing, and you're just gonna be the same old miserable, earning the same old basic wage, no bonus, anything. It's the same thing with Arsenal. And I'm sorry if I'm talking about too much, taking about too much time, guys. It's just I'm on some real shit, on a proper tangent or on a proper rant that isn't a bit too extreme or angry. As you guys can see, I am though.
Gary, is it as bad as Maher is saying? I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's good, right? But it's not. It's not. I don't
good,
think
but
it's
it's not terrible, right?
It's not bad. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I guess I feel like I like this. I take what I see, and what I'm seeing is, we're trying to make a change. We're trying to make a change with too many moving parts. We don't have any stability anywhere, and this is what you're going to get. It's what we're seeing, right? So, yeah. So I like to say I'm not surprised when I see what I saw. I expected a tie today. I expected us to be able to score, though. Didn't expect to see Pepe decide that he don't want to play anymore. Didn't expect to, didn't. Thought we might not see Saka today, and I thought, that would probably be an okay thing because I'd rather have him for the next 2 games. And now that's going to be a stretch probably. And if he does come back and play against Spurs, that's not the game for him to come back into,
Who's that? Martinelli?
No, Saka, if he's out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he might be out past that game anyways, but if he'll probably sit out the next game based on what, if it's ligament damage and, it's going to be sitting for a while. We're learning on the job, and we're hitting some road bumps and some failures along the way. And we got a point out of it today, and that's the best we can do on this situation. We got lucky today. Usually, how many times we have not been lucky? Multiple times, right? We've had VAR take away goals from us, and then we knew what was going to happen in the Leicester City game, and it happened. Today, we assumed we were going to have the challenge. We knew they were going to come at us, and we changed up a little bit. We looked good for that 30 minutes. Always happens, right? 20 minutes of a game, you can guarantee whatever I could have said it before the game, the players are going to do it. And then for the next 25 minutes, it's going to hold on. That's why we need to score early, because for those 25 minutes of the next half, yeah. I'm pushing him to smoke. But yeah, for 25 minutes of every half, we seem to be like just holding on and then waiting for that next discussion with Arteta what to do next, and that can't be. I mean, these players have been playing for too long that we can't follow suit with the manager. For 45 minutes. Come on, that's that. There's got to be. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, but it's got to be a way for us to be able to play 45 minutes and be able to take whatever the manager's given us and actually perform for 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maher should go to the training ground and punch our players in the ovaries. Stan, are we
that's
getting
exactly
back?
what they have. They have ovaries.
Stan, are we getting back to the social club aspect of Arsenal again? Are we going back to those days? The best we could do is win an FA Cup. We don't kick on from there.
I'm just thinking about some of the things that I've seen in the last few games, and I'm seeing things like players unable to take throw-ins repeatedly.
I've been doing that all my life.
I'm seeing players trying to take corner kicks, right? And they can't get the ball past the first man, or they kick it into the side netting from a corner into the side netting.
Danny Hill needs more material. That's what they're doing.
Danny Ceballos today kicked the ball out of play twice, trying to make a pass. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking like passes that were easy as well. It seems like, they said that didn't. I heard that we hired a coach, right, to help us with our set pieces. Our set pieces seem to be worse since we've hired this coach.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing so many aspects of the game where I see like regression.
The free kicks were terrible.
I see regression in certain places.
Yeah, definitely regression.
free kicks were terrible today. We see Ceballos hitting the daisy cutter wide. Yeah.
I mean, we got a player like Aubameyang who's been up there with the goal for the golden boot, and all of a sudden now he can't he's not getting any chances, and when he does get a chance, he couldn't hit the back end of a donkey with a banjo. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just like what is going on? It just seems to be like this malaise through the team. And the only time that we kind of recently see any kind of hard work going on is in the Europa League. That's the only glimpses of sort of you can see things happening in the Europa League. And, in the Premier League, it's El Neni that's kind of holding it all together at the moment.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
That El Neni is
confidence,
one of the best
right?
midfielders
The
there.
Europa League is about 2 levels down.
Don't get me wrong, I'm pleased with this re-emergence of El Neni, but he's the one. He seems to be like the glue now. That's kind of sort of the elastoplast that we've got over the big crack. Stop the water gushing through into the boat. Do you know what I mean?
Stan, here's the question. Instead of El Neni has been improving, has been the narrative over the last 2 months. Has El Neni stayed the same player consistently, and the rest of the team's level dropped below his?
I think he's kind of he's playing a little bit more forward than he used to play. I don't know if that's down to instruction, but sometimes the players around him they're not really doing that much. I mean, what did Xhaka really do today? And Aubameyang as well. Aubameyang's been getting a lot of passes recently, but we played him through the middle today for the whole of the 90 minutes, and he barely had a sniff. He barely had his sniff. So you've got to fault the people. You've got to fault part of the team for not getting the ball to him. But then when he does get the ball, you've got to make more of the chances.
He had one shot that he scuffed. I mean, I would have loved to see him put his laces through that stand, and that would have been a 1-0 to us, possibly.
So this is a good point to take some questions from the people in the comments. Send us some questions here. We'll start off with the assembled. I just want to point out we did on Thursday night introduce the shock challenge, and funny enough, Tony is the leader so far with a draw today. A 0-0 draw. Tony, you get 2 points.
Wow.
Do I get a point for my draw? No, not at all, because I didn't.
You didn't get a draw. It was West Brom versus United.
Oh, my shock. Okay.
Your shock, yeah. So this is something we're gonna pick each week for Stan and I here to catch up. We pick a shock every week in the Premier League. A team below beating or drawing with the team above. If there's a shock win, you get all of the points that are the differences between places. So if you're like 5th versus 13th, you get 8 points. If it's a draw, you get half points, which is 4. So we're gonna launch that upset challenge. But Tony, we'll start off with you. Do you think it is possible that Arteta, as being a former player, is to his disadvantage when it comes to him being able to instill his methods?
No, I don't see that at all.
No, I don't see that as a big issue just because he played for the club before. In fact, he should know more about what is needed. And he had only played, I think, with Mesut Ozil at the time, Stan. So he had that separation where he hasn't played with most of these players.
I would think that being an ex-player should be to his advantage.
Yeah, it's not like he hasn't had. It's not like he hasn't had good mentors to look up to as far as how to instill, your methods into the playing style of your players. I mean, Wenger and Pep have to be some good examples of somebody you could take something from them and get it and then translate that to what you see on the field. I mean, I don't know what more would you want than to have those two as somebody that you've looked up to, that kind of back you and then support you and you work with, and then not be able to get something out of that. We expected to see something from his time with Pep. We expected to see something from being, a captain for Arsenal and working under Wenger, right? I mean, if we don't get, if not, then he's not learning either. I mean, that's probably what if his coaching isn't indicative of what the players are doing, then maybe that's it's part and parcel of what we've seen. So there's no surprise there, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so Stan, what we've done here on the channel is we've tabulated what you need to get to 66 points, which is where Man United were last season, and they got top 4. After 9 games, we've accrued 19.5%. Multiply that before, that gives you 78%, not 100. We're going to fall short of 66 points, is what I'm saying. After 9 games, we got 13 points. You multiply 13 by 4, what's that, 52 points? We're on course for 52 points this season, Stan.
Yeah, I mean, I got the feeling that the people above us, at the club, are thinking to themselves that they've got to get into the Champions League this season. It's shit or bust, which is probably the reason why they're going to be trying to be splashing cash. I imagine in the January window, it's like a smash and grab now. Otherwise,
Sure.
as I said earlier in the show, there was no point in extending Aubameyang's contract for the money that we did, and the money that we're paying Willian and as well. Not to mention bringing in something like Gabriel. It's a smash and grab. Otherwise, that's all there can be. That is it now. And the club knows it. I think those people above, they know it. So it's.
Is Edouard Dillon?
Why is it every time before a transfer window, I always say this could be our most important transfer window? I said it the last one. I said it the one before that.
One before, and the one before that also.
Yeah, I don't like looking
looking
towards the next window. I mean,
parked in that same place where it's like, man, that next window,
Dan, I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better, Stan. I say it could, if only for the next game. We could do it the next game. That's what I do. I don't go window to window. I go game to game.
And it's not also that too. If you're talking about a window, you're talking about players that you need, right? We don't even know. We may have those players sitting on the bench, sitting in Europa League, playing in under 23s. We don't even know because they don't get an opportunity. I mean, the window, it's an easy thing to say, but we haven't exhausted all of our resources that we currently have. I mean, we now know we have money, but we have players now that we don't know if they can answer the questions that are being asked of the team.
Yeah.
I mean,
Saliba.
Right?
And until you tell me the players,
Emil Smith Rowe. My goodness, man, Gary, Tony, we're not going through the options that we even have available right now. It's a bit crazy.
I mean, I like to think Willock can.
Do you honestly believe then if we threw Emil Smith Rowe in and more games with Willock and say, for example, Reece Nelson and even Eddie Nketiah, that they are going to get us to where we want to be? I just don't think that they are. I don't think that they are, and I think that people at the club know that they're not, which is the reason why they're going to throw money at the problem. I don't know if the problem is internal. There's maybe a position on the pitch that we may be able to fix internally. We might be able to fix the right-hand side internally, but we ain't going to be able to fix the right-hand side, the creativity part, and the goal-scoring part. It's too much. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Too much.
All at one go, it's not possible.
I mean, that's the sign. It'd be hard. I don't think Arteta's there yet, but the sign of a good coach is being able to get something out of your players, and him being a newbie isn't going to be somebody I can lean on and say, you know what, take these 33 players, figure out the best approach, the best formation, lineup to get something out of these games. Meanwhile, we're going to throw money at you to get players in that are going to help support your task. But I like to think we're not even using, like I said, we're not using the players yet. Are they going to be here for the future? I don't know. But once again, if we're going to try to sell them, how do we do that if we don't even play them ourselves? Right?
Yeah. So that other clubs
turn around and say, let's get rid of these players. But you know what? They're not even good enough to play for us, and you're not going to know whether they're good enough because you've never seen them play in a Premier League game, right? That's
Very true.
talk about.
I mean, if he
you
goes out
always
and spends money on that, what's his name from RB Salzburg? I can never say his name.
Szoboszlai.
Szoboszlai.
If he goes out and buys him, he's only 22. He's not buying a finished article. This kid would still need to be improved. No, just the same as somebody like a Willock or a Nelson or even an Eddie Nketiah, and even Saka and Martinelli have to be improved. So if you're going to throw money at the situation, what is it that you're going to do? You're going to buy players that you think to yourself, well, I don't need to train these. He's a finished article.
Yeah.
I just need to talk to him tactically.
Yeah.
Surely that can't be the way. And when Mikel Arteta came to us, one of the biggest things that we were told was that this is the guy that makes players better. This is what we were told, right? We heard it coming from players from Man City, right? Sterling was saying it.
Yeah.
Leroy Sané was saying it. And our mouths were watering because we were like, we can't wait for this guy to work with someone like him.
Which player so far can you say has improved and
Exactly.
isn't doing anything, and there isn't any, right? And
not markedly. And these players, Leroy Sané and Sterling, they were already pretty good players.
I would actually say the one player that's beginning to catch my eye as a player that has improved for me is Hector Bellerin.
So I feel like he's gotten healthy, and that's been the key to it. I think he's gotten healthy. He's needed time. I mean, it's between him and Ainsley as far as that right side, but I think Ainsley not getting playing time. Once again, you're taking one of your resources and now you've just degraded it, right? So now when we try to sell him, they're going to go, well, let me see, we kept him, and now we don't even play him. There are times when you need to have him in. I thought today would have been one of those games where we put him in. I mean, I understand the pros and cons between the two players, but Ainsley needs to get on the field as well. I think if you're gonna say no, we're not going to take the 15-20 mil, we're going to keep him. And now you sit back and you go, you know what? We're not going to play him now because Hector's pretty good. You know what? You just wasted. Those are the resources or the cash that you need. I mean, it's.
Are you telling me? So I get what you're saying. So are you telling me that Danny Ceballos is really that much better and far ahead than an Ainsley Maitland-Niles?
Not for what I want to get out of. I know I'm going to get more out of. Yeah, I know what I'm going to get out of Ainsley, and I like what I get out of him. Ceballos, I never know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I can take bad crosses from Ainsley but I know everything else he does is pretty well. It sticks within the game plan, and I know he's not gonna. He's strong back there on the defensive side, so I'm not gonna lose much there.
And he's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and that's the same with El Neni. We know what we're gonna get with him. He's given us 100% every time he goes out there. He gives us 10 out of 10s. His 10 out of 10, right? Which isn't what we want, but it is the best. You get the most out of your players. That's a sign of good coaching to some degree, and that's why we're happy to have him out there. Other players, they don't give us all that they can.
So that's the question, then. That's the question. We've got players going out there then, by what you've just said, that are not giving us everything. So then the question that we need to be asking is why? Why are they not giving us everything? And who do we look to who should be able to be improving on the percentage that a player gives? And again, that has to lay at the manager's feet. And also to the individual's feet, right? You've got to take a little bit of pride in what you're doing. You're getting paid money. You're pulling the shirt on. You should be up for it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at
Pepe, who's trying to work his way into the team, who's been left out, who's openly saying that I'm happy when I play. I want minutes. And then, as I love that quote that Gary said earlier, he kicks himself out of the game. I mean, it makes no sense.
I mean, like Tierney is one player that I feel like on his bad day, I still get something out of it, right?
Yeah.
On a bad day, Aubameyang gets us nothing. On a good day, he gets us 2 touches of the ball in attacking part of the field. That's not good either, right? I mean, but I mean that's what it is. I'm going to take the plus out of this one. Like I said, there are a lot of negatives, but
Take the positives.
Yeah. I'm going to take the point out of this. I don't think it's as bad as the last game because I felt really bad about the way the team played as a whole. We got lucky today, and sometimes you want to take some luck. So I'm going to take the luck from this one. And hopefully we can get healthy. Hopefully Partey is going to come back, and we can, get better. That's what I'm looking for. I mean,
Yeah,
Can't wait till Martinelli's back. Jeez,
yeah.
Louise, we need
Mahir,
Martinelli.
Mahir, this could have been a 3-0 defeat like we had at Leicester. Easily. We could have lost 3-0 today.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
take the point and move on. And Stephen Denham says he's taking a break from football, but don't take a break from Arsenal fan circles, Stephen. Keep coming back. We're pushing above 300 subscribers now. It's got 302. So good stuff. And as you can see here in the caption, we are 1/4 of the way through the season. Tony, you're the numbers guy. We're 1/4 of the way through the season, so we should be at 25% comfortably, and we are not.
Yeah, we haven't been up to par enough, especially the last 5 or 6 games.
We would need at least 4 more points from these 9 games to have been at 25%. 25% is the target of 66 points by the end of the season. Mahir, it's I'm going to say our schedule gets easier, but not after these couple of games. There's no easy games anymore in the parity of the Premier
Nope.
League. It's a strange old season, right? Let's look into the Premier League and see what's going on there. We talked about
Yep.
Arsenal for a while. We know we got away with a point today. VAR should have given us a penalty, but we didn't get it. Saka got injured, and Pepe's out for 3 games. So it looks pretty bad on the face of it.
It's the players. The players are letting our coach down. As I said earlier, guys, you know me too well. I'm very, very blunt, very, very honest. The players were absolutely rubbish. You guys gave stats. My panel, you guys gave the stats without me having to say any damn thing. 2 shots on target. 2 shots in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
What, like, and even the opportunities, some half chances. Like, I saw Pepe doing too much. He could have taken a shot, could have buried that. Aubameyang, yeah, the pitch was slippery. It's not like an excuse. But what I'm saying is the performance. You, somebody was saying earlier on, would you rather see us draw 0-0 or go into a game and maybe lose a 3-2 or a 2-1, but like see some sort of fight, some sort of heart. Carry that jersey behind you, the jersey you're wearing, Ray, the jerseys that Stan and I and Tony always wear. It should mean something to these fucking players, man. Really, really. After 1 hour and 20 minutes of runtime with all of our subscribers that we love, I am still fuming. I
That was
know it's
bad
not
run.
as bad,
And
but
usually a
it's just that
podcast helps you get past that. Usually it's
we want to see a
helpful to
fight.
talk about it. Yeah.
We want to see a fight, and now we play Wolves, and then we go into a North London derby, and like you just said, 4 points is needed. So what? I don't see us personally. I see us. I would have seen us winning Leeds, which I wanted us to do today. That I saw realistically. Then going into the Wolves game, possibly getting a draw with their team being as magnifique as they are. I mean, I really admire the Wolves team and Nuno Espirito Santo, their coach. And then going into North London derby and pulling a rabbit out of the what do they say? Pulling a rabbit out of the hat.
The hat,
Yeah.
Yeah, basically doing that at the North London derby where form goes out the window and like, us going after that game and saying, oh, there's still a possibility, but right now I do not see a win coming from either of those games.
Mhm. Tony, look at the caption down there. Since Arteta came, since Lampard came to Chelsea, Arsenal bought all of those players. 247 million. Lampard spent 220 and bought quality players.
And it's more of who we haven't sold and what we bought.
And 4 of those players have worked out. The other 4 and another 4 of those players have not. And then 1 sleeper we don't know. I mean, that's I don't know how many of the Chelsea players are still around or not, but yeah, I mean it is. I mean, we've gotten around 40, 50% there on turnaround on in regards to the players that we brought in and whether they're going to stick around for a little bit of time. So,
James, we will have you on a pre-game show for the North London Derby if you want to come on. I think you mentioned that earlier, James Fernandez. When we do the pre-game show, we'll drop the link down here. You can join us. Be good to get that perspective as well. And a loyal follower of the channel as well. If I smashed the subscription button, I could break my phone. Stan, where do we go from here? Very easy question. I'm just going to lob that to you. It's a very easy one. What do we do? How do we fix it? How do we get top 4 and win the Europa League?
Well, looking at the game that we just played today, and the next 2 features that we've got coming up, someone asked me how many points I thought that we would get out of the 3 games, and I said 4 points. I thought that we'd get a win somewhere, there'd be a loss, and maybe a draw. Well, then maybe today was that draw then.
Was the draw.
I'm quite nervous going into the North London Derby. Usually I'm not, but I am at the moment because the team looks so shambolic. And it's difficult to know who's going to be back, who's going to be playing. Is he going to continue with Aubameyang through the middle, even though he didn't get any joy today? He's not going to. I hope it's not a case of, well, I tried it, didn't work, put him back on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put Willian back through the middle or something like that, right? I really hope that this is something that we're going to persevere with. I'd really like to think that we're going to persevere with 4 at the back as well.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, I think we'll persevere with 4 at the back. It's the creative aspects then that we are struggling with now. And I think you're right. We're going to have to go into the transfer market and get a Szoboszlai to complement what we have already in the team.
I mean, look, I've got Liverpool in the background, right? And they're 3-0 up. And their team is ravaged at the moment with injuries. And especially their defence is ravaged, right? They've not got out the back 4 that they would like to have out there. And they're still getting business done. They're coping with it.
And look what happened with Liverpool. They get a Virgil van Dijk injury. They don't play 5 at the back. What they did, they put Jota up in the central attacking midfielder area. Put Jota in there alongside Mane, Salah, and Firmino. If anything, they're attacking more rather than defending more.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we just don't. We don't have any depth. Nearly everybody's on the team sheet, right? We kind of know it's just trying to fit in some of them in the right places at the moment. But Thomas Partey will be coming back hopefully, so that should help us, and hopefully El Neni as well. I mean, I think those are 2 players that we really missed today. For the middle of the park, they're probably Partey's streets ahead of everybody else with his levels. Yep. And El Neni, with his hard work and how he's played so far this season, we can't afford to be without him at the moment. But it's who is the other person that we're going to put in there? If Saka's out now, that's one weapon that we have less now at our disposal. And we could have done with him. And I just hope that we can maybe nurse him through and have him available for that North London Derby, because he's just the sort of player that knows exactly what that fixture means. Players that come through the ranks, and have Arsenal coursing through their veins. As opposed to maybe a player that's on loan from another club, right? These are the players that you want to see that are going to try and make the difference in a fixture like that.
Yeah. Mahir disappears on me. Are you still there? Where do we go from here, Mahir? James says Spurs were poor on the restart. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks, James. It is going to be a derby, but Mahir, a word for Tottenham right now. They have got things sorted out. Mourinho is making things happen. It kind of pains me to lavish any kind of praise on them, but they're tight at the back and they're scoring goals.
Where do we go from here? Let's see. Persist with certain formations. Try and get some sort of team chemistry going, as Gary said, as Stan said as well. And I just want to point you guys to this attention. Darren's not doing too well at the moment. One of his mates is on here. We'll keep him in our prayers and our, like, even in the Muslim culture, we'll keep him in our du'as basically.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
our thoughts are definitely with him. We're here for him with whatever he's going through. We do love the guy very much. Other than that, where do we go from here? Like I say, we need to persist with the formation, probably a back four, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
Team chemistry, need to get players gelling together. Bringing in, like I said, Partey and El Neni are missed. So maybe we need them back in that midfield because
Like, and
we've got a
we
few.
need some let's come back to where we were starting at, where we talked about at the start. We need some discipline and some structure in terms of
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
consistent in what you're going to do with players when they do something that's outside of the norm and not allowed. You know.
Absolutely. Discipline is needed in all aspects of life, my friends,
Yep.
my good buddies.
Tony, final words, Tony.
Oh, I don't get to say anything.
Yeah, I'm coming around to you.
Oh,
I like to go counterclockwise.
okay.
And to me, it was a good enough performance from the team. Tactics still wrong. I don't think going with a back four is the right move right now. I think we need to persist with a back three. We knew how that was working. I think it was stupid to start William today. I think Maitland
Yes,
should
of
have
course.
got a start. That would have kept Saka from getting injured.
It's amazing, Gary, when Mahir and Gary and I were on this morning, and yeah, we must be pretty good at this, Gary. We must know what we're talking about because the things we talked about came to pass. And I know with Mahir, we've done pre-game shows before. They always come to pass. What did we talk about? Willian shouldn't be in the team. He starts. It sends a wrong message. And Saka shouldn't have started, but he gets on the field and he gets injured. You know, it sounds like we know what we're talking about, Gary.
Yeah, probably not everything, but we definitely know some. I mean, it's plain to see what's out there. You know, we kind of take what we see and we go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
always like to say things should be easy, right? It should be
lost
easy
for
to know
words.
that. Yeah, it should be easy that we know that Willian playing is probably not a good sign for team morale. Saka probably needs a rest because he needs that. If you're looking out for him, we knew that coming in. Pepe, if you're going to get on the field, you need to show us something. He didn't do that. So all the things that we needed, from some of the players out there, they didn't present that to us. The one thing that Stan did bring up about is the North London derby and what that means to an Arsenal player, to Arsenal and as a whole, right?
Yeah.
These like you said, these players don't know. When you play in that game, you should be exhausted when you come off. You wouldn't have any time to smile about how the game went, right? You play in that game. If you watch that game, you know what's going to happen. You know they're going to bait you. You know that. It's just they're trying to go out there and beat you down, right? You got to take every advantage that you give them. If Pepe, I mean, maybe it's lucky that Pepe doesn't play in that game because if this is what he's like against Leeds, imagine him in that game. That would scare me a little bit, because they're definitely going to go after him, right? They're definitely going to go after him if they see this. This is a little too easy. And this, that part comes from the whole discipline. We don't see it at the top. We don't see it at the management line. We don't see it at the coach. The players are showing it to us every time they go out there. They do little things that that's not what they're asking you to do. It isn't. It can't be. And this comes from there needs to be a central place that all this comes from. This is maybe it needs to come from a captain.
That's somebody who sets the tone, right?
Yeah, maybe Tierney needs to, if he doesn't get the armband, I don't care. But he needs, if he's the one that's going to do it, I'll stand behind him and run with, run up the hill with him essentially, right? I feel like he's the one person that I know is going to give it to me every game, right? Yeah. As long as, I mean, so I think they need to find someone to get behind and run with them and do everything they can for them, and that we're not getting that right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what we see. in the next game, we know it's going to be they're not offensively, and they're not an offensive power, so
no.
we know that we can play with them because they're going to give us opportunities. Because they're not going to take as many.
The Wolves game will be a tight game, and it might play into us as well. Stan, we lost something in the last 20 years. As Gary mentioned, go to North London derby. The likes of Dennis Bergkamp was always clued in, and Nicholas and Elka, they were clued into what was needed because you had Tony Adams, Steve Bold, Lee Dixon, telling those players, you win one game, it's got to be the North London derby. We lost that in 20 years. We lost the culture of what it was to be an Arsenal player, what it meant to put the shirt on and wear the badge. We need to get that back, right, Stan?
The last football match that I actually went to was the 4-2 North London derby under Unai Emery. That was
wow.
And when I came away from that game, there were some players on that team who were quite new to Arsenal, but you could see that either the rest of the team, people around the club had obviously told them, because you could see what it meant to them. And specifically, I remember Lucas Torreira, the magnificent game that he had for us on the day. And you could see that he knew what it meant to everybody for us to come out in that game. So it's a similar thing, right? We've got a lot of players that are kind of new to the UK, players like Gabriel. You could even say Tierney. I hope these players, Tierney, he'll definitely get it, right? The guy used to play for Celtic. Mm-hmm. He knows what derbies are all about. I mean, Celtic and Rangers, there's nothing really bigger. But some of these other players, that we have in the team, I just hope that they understand and they get it and they know that this is a game that it's on the line, right? You leave everything on the line. It don't matter if you lose, as long as you've given everything and put it all on the line, then you can't complain. Because if our team is as bad as a lot of people are saying, then what does that make that Tottenham a better team than us? If that's the case, we've got to try and match them.
100%.
Yeah, and it starts in the next game. We have to play every game like North London derby. Well, look, we'll leave it there. What I think the title I said was an undeserved point for Arsenal today. We didn't deserve it, but we'll take it, add it to the kitty, and we move on. Things have to get better, and hopefully it starts pretty soon. But it's a little bit stark when you realize under Unai Emery we were playing with heart in those kind of games, and we've lost our mojo a little bit. We've got to get it back. Comes through consistency of leadership, I believe, and Arteta came in with a storm of non-negotiables. I think he needs to start delivering disciplinary wise on those non-negotiables, because things are slipping in my view. I don't know if the other three see it that way. Tony, Stan, or Gary.
I mean, I think it's. I mean, he needs to back up what he's saying, and he hasn't done that, right? I mean, that's essentially, and it's. I'd rather him not say anything than say something and then have to turn around and do something different. It kind of always backfires on you. You got to know the answer to whatever you're about to, to whatever question you're going to pose to yourself, to the fan, to the media, and I don't think he has. I don't think he has that right now. So yeah.
I'm actually dreading watching the press conference now, because you kind of know what.
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I've seen two Mikel Arteta post-match press conferences.
Was it the Zoom call?
Well, no, when they're standing there with him,
Yeah.
And both times he was asked about the Nicolas Pepe sending off, and both times he said unequivocally that it was unacceptable.
Yeah.
It was unacceptable, and it will be dealt with inside.
Which means that, what, I just saw, you're going to see a lot of thoughts about what that means, and we've seen it with Guendouzi, right? It means that your probably days here are numbered, right? Because, and you know what? Yes, it's a waste of money, but wasting money anyways, right? And we're not going to get back what we want. He hasn't shown us consistently that we're going to get anything back from him anyways. And can we take that risk again and maybe and maybe
I
thought
thought
somebody
he
else.
had. I thought he had a good first season, Gary, and he needs to build on it. Now that hasn't happened this 9 games plus. You know, Tony, give it. What do you think about it all? And we're going to get out of here in 2 minutes. Keep saying that, right?
Hey, keep saying it, but
Ray will master the art of the quick outro one of these days.
one of these days,
No, it was a good. I mean,
All right.
like I
Listen.
said, I think this is a good game, and it's a good talk. I mean,
Good talk.
thanks
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, I mean,
Hope
this is
everybody.
yeah.
Hope everybody feels better after this talk, and sometimes it's cathartic to get this out in the open. We go forward. There's a Europa League game later in the week, and we go forward to I think next Saturday or Sunday. Until then, I want to say thanks to Mahir. Roadrunner did it again, Tony.
me.
Thanks to Tony. Thanks to Gary, and thanks to Stan for coming on again. Really
Cheers.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we can. We'll do the Mexican wave next time we win a game. How about that? It would be kind of trite to do a Mexican wave, right, Stan? It would be kind of trite to do a Mexican wave after not having deserved to win or not even winning.
Oh man, when is Christmas again? Because I don't know.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Share the link on your socials. Get people to watch the channel. Get people to subscribe and hit a like on the podcast as well. Really, really appreciate it. Until next time, we're out of here. Thanks for watching and be safe, everyone out there.